nerdy part, so I apologize for that in advance. But it's number crunching, and I want to thank my math teacher, Mr. Ertzlaven and Mr. Dennis. Looking at the historical tax rates in the state of Texas, state and local burden on individuals, tax burden on individuals, from 1977 to 2009, it averaged 7.6% of our per capita income. It only ranged from 6.8 to 8.4%. I told you it was going to be nerdy. In the United States, ranked 1 through 50, where 1 is the highest burden and 50 is the lowest, our rank ranged over that period of time from 43 to 49 with an average of 45. In 2009, we were taxed at 7.9%, and that placed us 45. These numbers are incredibly stable over the last 30 plus years. That's a fact. It's not subject to debate. When people tell you, oh, my taxes are too high, it's the same cotton-picking taxes we've been paying for over 30 years. That is a fact.
Hear, hear.
If you want to look at per capita spending by the state, and what do they do once they get our tax money? Texas ranks dead last. In 2007, we spent $3,800 per capita. The U.S. average was $5,400. Massachusetts spent $6,800 per capita and ranked 8th. Facts, not subject to debate. What kind of difference does that make? I got to use some critical skills thinking now. I'd like to thank Dr. Tillipon and Dr. Cipanero for that. The 2009 National Assessment of Educational Progress results for 4th and 8th graders ranked Massachusetts first in math and reading. That's the 3rd year in a row for them in math. And they're spending $3,000 more a year per capita. Money matters in education. If you don't think so, go to the Texas Equity Center site and look at their report on what difference money makes in education. Regardless of that, it's based on fact. We do not have a bloated budget in the state. We rank 50th in our per capita spending. It is a lean budget. We are cutting into bone and muscle at this point, and that will be disastrous.
Hear, hear.
Personal side trip, because somebody foolishly gave me a microphone and an audience. Personal side trip. My parents, when my father passed away in 1998, are members of the greatest generation. They grew up in the Depression. They survived that, and then they decided to save the world from fascism. People like my mom worked hard on the home front. People like my dad fought and died in places they'd never heard of. So what do you do for an encore after you beat the Great Depression and after you win World War II? Well, the government funded the GI Bill, one of the largest injections of money into education this country had ever done. And people like my dad, who most likely would not have gone to college, did just that. He went to college, and as a result, they built the most magnificent economy this country, this planet had ever seen. I never heard my parents complain about school taxes. Never. Not once. And today, I am ashamed to look my mom in the eye and tell her how we're treating education. I have trouble explaining to her why we're even debating spending money on her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren's education.
Hear, hear. Woo!
A few more facts. I promise I'm running out. A few more facts. The legislature created this shortfall. It is not the economy. We are a wealthy state in a wealthy nation. It is a structural deficit. Memorize that. It is a structural deficit created by House Bill 1 and House Bill 3 in 2006. The legislature reduced property tax, hurrah, and And they promised by statute to replace that lost revenue with money from other taxes. They are breaking that promise today. The comptroller sent a letter in 2006 and warned them at the time. You know, you're going to have a big revenue shortfall in 2010, 2011. She was dead on with that. We covered it up for a while. Congressman Doggett knows this. We covered it up for a while with stimulus money for recurring costs. One-time stimulus money for recurring costs. We tried to hide it from everybody. These are facts. They're not subject to debate. People keep trying to move the conversation from facts to their emotional opinions. They're going to tell you boards are cutting jobs. Legislature's not laying anybody off. School boards are doing that. They're going to try to tell you we have bloated administration. We have far too many administrators. The administrator-teacher ratio is 1-to-1. Of course, they're counting bus drivers and cafeteria workers and custodians. I don't know, how many of you would like to go to a hospital with nothing but doctors? No nurses, no orderlies, nobody checking in, filing your insurance for you, nobody to assist. You can't have a hospital with just doctors. You can't have schools with just teachers. But they're going to try to shift the conversation and somehow make it sound bloated. They're going to tell you teachers are greedy.